Have you ever wondered what happens when a quiet, rural state suddenly becomes the center of a massive oil boom? Picture North Dakota, a serene region, its tranquility disrupted in the 2000s. A sleeping giant of oil reserves, discovered and awakened, forever altering the state's landscape. The quiet fields and towns of the Peace Garden state were on the verge of a seismic shift, the likes of which they could never have imagined. Join us as we delve into the dramatic changes that swept through North Dakota in mid-2000s. Imagine your quiet town suddenly swarming with workers from all corners of the country and even the world. This was the reality in North Dakota during the oil boom of the 2000s. Workers flooded into the state, chasing the promise of high-paying jobs in the burgeoning oil industry. This sudden population increase was as diverse as it was vast, with people from different backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life converging on this once tranquil state. However, this influx wasn't without its challenges. The local communities, unprepared for this rapid growth, found themselves strained to the breaking point. The existing infrastructure groaned under the weight of the new population. Roads became congested, public services were stretched thin, and the local culture started to shift under the weight of this new diversity. As you can imagine, this massive influx of people had a profound impact on the local economy and infrastructure. And this was only the beginning of the changes that North Dakota would experience. What happens when demand far outstrips supply? A housing crisis ensues. And that's precisely what happened in North Dakota during the oil boom. The drastic rise in rent was a direct result of the sudden influx of workers, all needing a place to stay. The housing stock was simply not enough to accommodate the swelling numbers. Local residents, who once enjoyed affordable rents, now found themselves grappling with skyrocketing prices. And the new workers, they were caught in the same predicament. These individuals, who had flocked to the region with hopes of a prosperous future, were now burdened with housing costs that consumed a significant portion of their incomes. But it wasn't just the financial strain. The shortage of housing also led to overcrowded living conditions, with many workers resorting to makeshift accommodations. From trailers to tents, these were far from ideal living conditions. The housing crisis was just one facet of the challenges faced by North Dakota during the oil boom. With the population boom and increased wages, consumer goods prices skyrocketed. The cost of living surged, with everything from groceries to clothing to fuel becoming significantly more expensive. This was a consequence of the sudden influx of cash in the economy, combined with a surge in demand from the rapidly growing population. But let's not forget, the locals were not left unscathed either. As the cost of everyday essentials soared, they found their salaries stagnating or even shrinking in real terms. For the newly arrived workers, the high wages were a double-edged sword. They came chasing the oil dream, only to find that the cost of living could eat up a significant chunk of their earnings. The spike in consumer goods prices wasn't an isolated incident. It was a symptom of a larger issue, a side effect of the rapid and largely unplanned growth. The price spike was a direct result of the rapid changes brought on by the oil boom. So, what was the overall impact of the oil boom on North Dakota? Quite a loaded question, isn't it? To summarize, the oil boom brought about significant changes in North Dakota's economy and infrastructure. It was a period of explosive growth and prosperity, with an influx of workers from all over the world, attracted by the promise of high-paying jobs. However, this sudden surge of population presented its own set of challenges. Housing became a critical issue, with demand far outstripping supply. This led to a sharp escalation in rent prices, creating a housing crisis. As a result, many of the newly arrived workers found themselves living in makeshift accommodations, including trailers and even their own vehicles. The price of consumer goods also skyrocketed, driven by increased demand and limited supply. This created an economic environment of inflation, where the cost of living rose dramatically. The state's infrastructure struggled to keep up with the rapid growth. Roads, public services, and utilities were stretched to their limits, leading to traffic congestion and a strain on essential services. The oil boom also had long-term effects. It reshaped North Dakota's economy making it heavily reliant on the oil industry. This has left the state vulnerable to fluctuations in oil prices and the boom and bust cycles of the industry. The oil boom in North Dakota was a transformative event that left an indelible mark on the state and its people. It was a period of dramatic change, both positive and challenging, that continues to shape North Dakota today.